Grasshopper Scripts Every Architect Should Know About, Part 3, Attractors. Attractors has tons of architectural application, but here we are going to share some of its applications in massing, landscape, and paneling. This tutorial requires a basic knowledge about Rhino, so if you are a beginner, I would recommend you to check my Rhino beginner course for architect. You can find it in my YouTube channel page in playlist, which is this one, and I will add the link in the description below. Now you can support the channel and download all the source files from the Patreon page. I'm going to leave the link in the description below. Okay, without further ado, let's start. So I'll start by going to the perspective view and double click to maximize the perspective view, and I'm going to the layers and I'm going to create a new layer in this name Attractor. Let's create one sublayer and two more sublayers. And I'm going to name the first sublayer massing, and I'm going to create inside it a few more sublayers. The first one is going to be Attractor curves, and second one is going to be surface, and third one is going to be mass. So for the Attractor curve, I'm going to give it a red color, and for the surface selected, and let's create a simple 3-point surface. Then it's going to be 30, and then it's going to be maybe 20 meter. And let's double click to select the Attractor curve. I'm going to go to top view, so double click to minimize the perspective, and double click to maximize the top view. I'm going to select the curve and choose curves from here. And let's draw, press F8 to open or close also. I'm going to close also and draw maybe a curve in here like this. Right click to finish the command, and right click to bring the command again. Maybe another curve here, something like this. Those are going to be our Attractor curves. So double click to minimize the view, and this go again to the perspective view. So I'm going to open Grasshopper. You can open it from here, or you can type Grasshopper. Let's place it here. So double click and type SRF to bring surface. Right click here and set one surface, which is this one. And now for the curves, double click and type CRV to bring the curves. Right click, set multi curves, select this one and this one, and right click. So we have our curves and our surface inside Grasshopper. So in this tutorial, we are going to use a plugin called Lunchbox for paneling. So I'm going to apply to it a hexagon paneling. So let's add this component. Place the surface here. And for U and V divisions, I'm going to add a slider. So double click, and the slider is going to be from 0 to 250. Just enter. Set this to 10. Control C, Control V, and set this to 20. Place this here and place this here. Okay, so set this to 20 and this to 10. That have something like this. But I think we need to make it a little bit larger. So I'm going to, you know what? Let's keep it like this for now. So this is going to be the U divisions, and here right click and name it V divisions. Okay, so now we're going to add the part of the Attractor. So the concept of Attractor is about calculating the distance between the object and our Attractor, which in this case is these curves, and then remap these values to another domain that we then can be used to maybe scale, extrude, or whatever the operation that we're going to do. So let's calculate the distance between these curves. So I'm going to use curve closest point. You can type curve closest point, this one, or you can come here to the curves and you'll find it here. Our point is going to be the center, and the curves are going to be these curves. But first, you need to, here we have more than one curve, so we will have two distances. So how to know which distance we should use? So to know which distance we are going to use, we need to sort the two distances and find the smallest one. So I need to graft the centroid, the points, and then use the curves. So here's the distance. As you can see, we have branches. Each branch contains two distances because we have two curves. So now I'm going to use a sort component. So type sort. We're going to sort these distances. And we now want to select the smallest one. So the smallest one is going to be the first one, to know that if we add the panel, for example, here, as you can see, the smallest number is the first and the large number is the second. So I'm going to use a list item to select the first value. So the index by default is going to be 0. Of course, if you want to change the index, you can add a panel here. Double click and type 0. So this is the index that we want to select. So now we have branches that contain only one value. I'm now going to flatten this value, don't need it to be grafted. So these are the values that we're going to remap. So we're going to use a remap component. So we have our values, which are these values, and the source domain. To get the source domain, we are going to use bound to get the domain of these values. And the target domain, we are going to type domain, construct domain. So for this one, we want to adjust the height based on the number of floors. So I'm going to add a slider from 0 to 10, 0 for 0 floors and 10 for 10 floors. This is going to be the minimum number of floors. Control C, Control V, and this is going to be the maximum number of floors. So this is going to be maybe 8, set it to 8 for now. This is going to be the target domain. So now we will get a value from 0 to 8. but we, as you can see, we need the values to be integer without any fractions. So to adjust it, we are going to use round component. So when you use round, you have the floor, the ceiling, and the nearest. I will go with the nearest for now. So let's start organizing our script. So I'm going to select all of this and let's press Ctrl G to make it group. And let's name it Attractor curve. And let's give it maybe a unique color, something more bluish or something. And let's hide all of this. So click on the mouse wheel button to bring this menu and hide all this stuff. So now we want to, this is the number of the floors. It is not the value that we are going to use to extrude these panels. So we need to multiply this value by the floor to floor height. So I'm going to add an expression, an equation, and let's double click here and type x multiply by y. So this is going to be the number of floors, and let's add another slider and let's make it with 2 decimals and from 0 to maybe 6, and let's set it to 4, and it's going to be floor to floor height. And let's list here. So now we have the value that we're going to use to extrude our panels. Let's align everything like this. So now we can type extrude component, and we're going to extrude these hexagon cells. But as you can see, these hexagon cells are polylines, not surfaces. So I'm going to use surface, convert them into surfaces. And now we're going to extrude these surfaces in Z direction. So double click to bring Z unit. And this is going to be the value of the extrusion. And let's set here. Oh. Okay, so we get our geometry, but there are a few problems. First, the scale. But keep it as it is for now. I'm going maybe just make the maximum floors 4 floors. And the floor to floor height maybe 3 meters. We're done with the script, but I will just add a few more adjustments. So we can add custom preview here, and let's add material. Let's double click and add a swatch color. Let's make it maybe a little bit gray. Not bad. But as you can see, the grid is too large, so we might scale everything. So let's come here and choose scale. From here to here, makes the length is maybe 60 meters, a little bit larger. And as you can see, there are some, when the value is 0, the extrusion is 0. This is why it cannot extrude some surfaces, because the value of the extrusion is 0 actually. If we change this maybe to 1, this error will disappear. But as you can see, I want some parts, some gaps, or some passes like this. So let's keep it. And we're almost done with the script, but we can start, so we are done with the script, but we can start refining the script a little bit more to add more details. Okay, so for the curves, I think I will add an offset component. So for the curves here, let's just move everything like this a little bit. I'm going to add an offset component, or offset curve, but I'm going to use offset from the pufferfish. So you can hold Ctrl Shift to remove this and place it here. And let's add a slider from these 2 decimals, so from 0 to 4 maybe. Let's set it to 1. Let's name it curve offset. Let's set here. And let's set the offset in post direction. So let's add a boolean. So double click and a boolean toggle. Let's make it true. Double click on it to make it true. Let's set here. Okay, so delete this one. To make it offset in post direction, we need to add a negative value. So add double click and add a negative component. Place it here and here like this. So have offset in post direction, and here make sure it's the cap is set to linear, which is 1. It's going to be like this by default. And I'm going to use this curve as attractor. By the way, in the custom preview, let's add a slider from 0 to 1 and make it 0.2, make the transparency a little bit 0.2 to be able make it transparent a little bit to be able to see the curves. So I don't know why this pass didn't work. It's like as if it's ignoring this curve. Okay, so this one is graphed, so we need to flatten this to make it work. So you can right click here and choose flatten. So here you go. We have our first script using Attractor. You can use it to create some kind of design like this, of course. And one of the amazing parts is we can use this script to create tons of variation by just exchanging this component, the paneling one. So I'm going just to align everything, and we can start grouping things together. So you can align them like this, and let's Ctrl G, and let's make it like this, and set the color to maybe yellow. So we can select everything, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and if we come here in the Lunchbox plugin, we can change it to quad panels maybe. You can get it here and hold Ctrl Shift and place this one here. But for the center, we are going to use area to calculate the centroid of the panels. We don't have a center here, so we need to calculate. So we can hold Ctrl Shift and place it here, and hold Ctrl Shift, place this one here, Ctrl Shift, Ctrl Shift. Hide this one, hide all of this. And as you can see, we will get a completely new design. Let's start adjusting the number of view and V divisions. You can play around with attractor curves. You can rebuild this curve maybe to add more control points and start playing around. Maybe you would add some kind of variations here too, like this. You can increase the width of the path. Don't decrease it too much. And that looks okay, looks good. And of course, when we are done, we can come here, right click, and pick our geometry and proceed to the mask layer. Okay, so let's move this away for now. I want to show you something that we can actually test the variations within the same script without just copying it. So by using filters. So I'm going to delete this one. And let's use this one. Click on the mouse middle button and click here to do everything. So I'm going to move this part a little bit down, like this. And take this here. So let's say, for example, we want to test this one too, and maybe this one too. Of course, you can add whatever component you want to test. And I'm going to, okay, so first I want to show you the main component that we are going to use to add the filter, and its name is filter. So we'll add more streams, and this is a gate. So if the input here is 0, then they are going to use the one here named 0. If it's 1, we are going to use the input in 1. So, and we're going to use area component for all of them. So yeah, we're going to use this, and then the area here. You can double click here like this and insert the area here. So, by the way, the output of these ones are surface, so I'm not sure this is going to work or not, but we are going to see. So yeah, and the filter is going to, so we have 4, so the filter is going to be a value from 0 to 3. So this is going to be paneling type. Let's move this down a little bit. Let's do. By the way, you can come here, right click, and show it like this, and let's name it Attractor Curves. Okay, so let's place this one here, and the U division and the surface is going to, we are going to place the surface in all of them, and the U division, V division, and we're going to use this one here, this one, then this one, then this one. So let's select all of this and click on the mouse at the bottom and hide everything. So now if we start changing this one, as you can see, the paneling type will change. After that, we can start adjusting the paneling size, etc. And of course, if we want to add any more variations, we can come here, maybe testing staggered quads. So we'll come here at the surface here, same division, another one here, place it, and double click here and make the maximum value 4, switch it to 4, here you go, and so on. So this is how we can test the variations. And another thing I want to show you is using cluster. Using cluster is very, very useful, especially when you are working in larger script, to be able to organize your workflow. And I'm going to use cluster only for this part, because I'm going to copy this script, and the part that's going to be fixed is this one, the attractor. So let me show you how to create a cluster. So simply by clicking cluster, you can select all the components, click on the mouse middle button and click here. But first, like this, as you can see. But of course, the input and the output are not exactly what we want, so we can press Ctrl Z. So we can use input components, so input, to define each input. So this one for the curve. So let's right click on it, or double click, and let's name it Attractor Curves. Here, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, Attractor Curve, and Ctrl C, Ctrl V for the points. Let's come here and double click and name this points. Type points here too. Okay. And this is going to be the domain. So add an input again. Place it here. Ctrl C, Ctrl V, start domain, and it's going to be the domain in. Keep the name as it is. And the output, I'm going to remove this one from this group. So you can select it, select the group, and right click and remove from group. So the output is going to be only this one, the mapped values, and then we are going to place it here. So to remove the wire, you can hold Control and go like this to remove the wire. So yeah, this is going to be our clusters. These are going to be the 4 inputs, and this is going to be the output. So we can select everything like this and click on the mouse middle button and click here, and we can name it. Let's name it Attractor Curves. So now let's start placing the inputs. This is domain start, domain end, and these are the points, and these are the attractor curves, and this is the output. As you can see, the script now looks way smaller. And if you want to edit this component, you can double click on it and start adjusting it as whatever you want, and then you can come here and save and close, or we can discard and close. We can also use the same technique, but with a Voronoi pattern instead of these panels. So I'm going to add another component here to move things a little bit, to add some space. As you can see, clusters are very useful. The script looks way more simpler now. Anyway, so we have our surface. I'm going to add a Voronoi, and I'm going to add populate geometry. So the geometry is going to be the surface, of course, and number of points. So add a number from 0 to 100. Let's name it number of points or cells. Here, set maybe to 20. So these are the points. So we have our Voronoi pattern, and we going to add boundary. So the boundary is going to be the surface. This is our Voronoi pattern. And now I'm going to add an area. You know what? We're not going to need an area. We have the area here. So, but I think I'm going to increase the point with 40 maybe. And select title of this, by the way. So here is our pattern. Let's add a plus here and place it here. And the seed, let's add the number for the seed, maybe from 0 to 10. Let's name it seed. And here let's make the maximum is 5. This one is 5. As you can see here, we have a Voronoi pattern mass. And hide it and that's it here. So these are the inputs for the Voronoi pattern. Let's group them alone. And let's give them different color, maybe green. By the way, I used the same technique to create the mass for my graduation project, and then I made few manual adjustments to it. You can check the full project on my Behance. I will add a link for it in the description below. So, yeah, as you can see now, we can test tons of variations in literally no time. I don't like this one. Let's start increasing the offset. Anyway, you got the idea. You can start playing around with the inputs to get some designs, but I will speed this part a little bit. I will just do one adjustment. I think it's better if we used floor instead of ceiling. So floor, it rounded to the smallest value to be able to define more passes. So it's going to be create a little bit more better result. For example, here, if we used floor, as you can see, the pass is continuous. But if I here used nearest, you'll see you'll have some floors here. So nearest is going to be better. Okay, now after we finish the script, I'm going to use the script to generate some masses, but I'm going to speed this part a little bit to save some time. So we'll start. Okay, now let's see how can we modify this script to use it for landscape. But first, I'm going to adjust the layer. So let's name this layer. Or you know what? Delete this one. Let's select this one and choose duplicate layer, but not the object. Duplicate layer only. Yes to all. And let's name it landscape. And here, click to rename this layer, and let's name it landscape. And let's add to it two sublayers. The first one, let's name it grass, and the second one, let's name it tile. Let's give this one a green color, and this one a light gray color. Okay, and let's now hide the masking layer. And let's in Grasshopper, select this, and click on the mouse with the button and hide everything. Hide this too. So let's come here, double click, select the surface, and let's create a 3-point rectangle. So this is going to be 20 meter by 15 maybe. And let's select the attractor curve, and let's draw maybe a curve in here. Press F8 to close also. Let's draw some kind of curve like here, like this, and another curve like this. Let's open Grasshopper. I will select everything, Control C, Control V, and start to organize the inputs a little bit. Select this, Control C, Control V, move it down, and let's add a scribble to type some reference text. Scribble, and let's name this one Attractor Massing Script. Attractor Massing Script, and press Control G to place it on a group and make it something like this, and give it maybe a red color. Select it, Control C, Control V, came here, and this one, let's name it Attractor. landscape script. Okay, so we can maintain this part and the part of the Voronoi too. Okay, so the first, let's start. So I'm going to select the surface, which is this one, and let's select the curves, set multis, this one, and this one. Right click. So, okay, so we are going to change a lot of stuff. The first thing is this one. The target domain is going to be a scale factor, so it's going to be something from 0 to 1. And let's rename it. Let's name it minimum scale, and let's make it with 3 digits. Double click here and name this one maximum scale, and let's also make it 3 digits. So we can set this to 0.9 maybe. And we're not going to use extrude, so delete this one and this one and this one too. Here's a remapped values, and let's view the panel. So we can come here and view the panels. So these are the, like our tile. We can reduce their size, of course, but you know what? Keep them like this for now. We need to start scaling them. So I'm going to add, so double click and add a scale component, and the geometry that we are going to scale is these curves. And by the way, we are going to scale the curves, not the curves. So let's curve, not the surface. We're going to scale the curves. So place the curves here, and here is the scale are going to be around the centroid, and the scale factor is going to be this one. So we're going to use the value of the attractor for the scale value. As you can see right now, and don't make the minimum 0, make it 0.01. So as you can see, the tile close to the curves are small, and the tile away from it are larger. We can reverse it because I want the path is around the curves. So let's make this 0.1 and this 0.01. So now it's the opposite. So now only we have only curves. We need to start creating surfaces and geometries from the output. So I'm going to use boundary surface, which is this one, boundary surface. And double click and type boundary surface. We can find here in the surface. But before using it, I want to remove the very, very small tiles, like this very small tiles. I don't want it. So to remove the small tiles, we need to calculate the area. So double click and type area of this geometry, and let's find the smaller value. We are going to set a tolerance. So we are going to remove the small panels based on a minimum area. So double click and add a slider with 3 digits and the maximum 1, and let's set the minimum area. So let's name this minimum area to keep. So we have here the second number, and here is the first one. So we have here a true and false values that we are going to use to remove the small panels. So we are going to use cool pattern, and we're going to use this as a list, and this is the pattern that we're going to use. So okay, so we need to use a greater than, not smaller than. This one selected the panels with the area less than 0.1. So we are going to use greater than, larger than. So Control Shift to place this here, and Control Shift to place this here, and this here, and so on. So here, as you can see, we remove this small pattern, and if we increase this, it's going to remove more panels. But anyway, let's give it maybe something around 0.1. So for this part, it's going to be just greens. So we need to select these panels. So I'm going to use this again, Control C, Control V. Divide this list. And now I want to select these parts. So to select this part, I'm going to reverse the values here. So I'm going to use node gate, like this. Copy this, Control C, Control V, and use the output of the node gate here. Select this. So for this one and for this one, we are going to use a tile, and for both of them, we are going to use the greens here by creating a loft or surface or boundary surface. And for this one, we are going to use greens too. So let's see. I'm going to use surface or use boundary surface for this one to create a tile. So here is our tile. We will just need to extrude it, and I'm going to merge this, the output of these two components, create the greens, this one and this one. Okay, but I first need to graft them to have branches. Each branch contain 2 curves, this one and this one. So type graft this one, press Control V and graft this one too. Place this one here and place this one here. So as you can see here, we have a lot of branches. Each branch contains 2 curves that we want to use for the boundary surface. So select this one, Control C, Control V, and use this one here. So these are going to be greens. And for this part, so we're going to use boundary curves directly. We can, by the way, place this one here like this, but you know what, keep it like this to be more organized. Okay, add a geometry component. I'm going to add this one and this one, and let's come here and right click and name this one grass. Control C, Control V, and place this here and name it tile, but you know what, before doing so, I need to extrude in Z direction. And this is for the tile thickness. Add a slider from 0 to 1 and make the thickness 0.02. It's going to be the tile thickness. Let's add this one here. We're not going to need this one, and we're not going to need, we're not going to need this offset. But you know what? No, we might need this offset. Let's keep it for now. Okay, this one is for the grass, so I'm going to remove the transparency from here. I'm going to add the custom preview to the grass. Let's set the color here to green. Something like this. View it. Oh, it's not the grass. This is for the grass. This one is for the tile. So name this one tile. Select Ctrl C, Ctrl V. That's it here. And switch to wireframe, by the way, to make things clearer. Here, let's add maybe some kind of gray color. Select all of this and hide. So yeah, here we go. I'll start doing a few more adjustments, but I first need to organize the script. Okay, so let's start. This is for the menu area to keep place it here. Let's add this in a group. Let's name it scale tile. And removing small tiles. And then removing small tiles. And let's these parts are for the grass that is in the group, and these are for the tile. In this grass and in this tile. And yeah, here we go. I want to try some adjustments. So let's increase the tile, make it 20, maybe this 25, maybe even 40. For the offset, let's make it 0.2, maybe 0. Okay, I want to test something. By the way, we can add a graph mapper here to remove more tiles or make this size degradation rougher. So we can add maybe a graph mapper here. Hold Ctrl Shift and release this here and add the values inside the graph mapper. We can come here, right click, and choose easier. We can start playing around. As you can see, let's make some more adjustment. By the way, I think I will increase the area of the smaller area to make it 0.05 maybe. 0.02. Yeah, so, and we can switch between types. So you can set one here to make it diamond like this, or maybe 2. Make it rectangles, 3 staggered, 4 staggered, 3 for triangles, 2. I think, and 4 for staggered triangles, and 5 for the Voronoi pattern. So yeah, this is for the landscape. Okay, now we are done with the script. So I will start using it to generate some variations and out of different design options. So I will speed this part a little bit. So yeah, I think that's it. So we can now start adjusting the material. So for the grass layer, I'm going to give it maybe a grass material. So type grass, and let's give it just some kind of light green color, light surface. And for the tile, let's give it some kind of gray color, light gray color. Okay, now let's see how can we use the attractors for paneling. So the first thing I'm going to do is adjusting the layer. So I'm going to hide the landscape layer, and let's do this one. And let's come here and right click and duplicate layer, yes to all, and let's name it paneling. Let's go to the sub layer, view this one, in the landscape, let's delete this one. Let's get a new layer and let's name it panels. And inside it, let's add 3 layers. The first one, let's name it structure. And second one, let's name it glass. And the third one, let's name it panels. So for the glass, let's give it a cyan color. Structure, let's give it a darker gray. And for the panels, let's give it a light gray color. So let's hide the landscape object. Yeah, inside this. Let's open Grasshopper. So Grasshopper. Select this object and click on the mouse wheel button and hide everything. Hide everything. Select it. The script for the panels is going to be something very similar to this one. So I'm going to select this one, Control C, Control V, and move down like this. Let's come here and let's name it Attractor Panels Script. Let's save for now. And first, I'm going to create a reference surface. So I'm going to create a new layer and let's name it CRV for the curve, reference for the curve. And I'm going to draw maybe a polyline here with a length of 35 meters. I click, select it, I rebuild at 6 control point, and move point like this with a value of maybe 20. Select it, get a copy. 1, 2, 3, maybe 3 copies. You know what? Control Z. Before moving it, I'm going to create a few copies. So get a copy here, 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 and here maybe. Select everything, press F10, move this point, and here I'm going to move this one, this one, this one, and here is this one, something like this. You know what? Move this one. For this, I'm going to move this one. Let's delete one of them. Move this one, and move things like this. Select everything, F10, move this, and move it up maybe by a value of 25. Move the curves in the middle a little bit down, by a value of 5. And move this up by a value of 5, and move this up by a value of 5 also. And move things a little bit. By the way, you can come here, right click and choose logical history, select the surface layer, select the type loft, select this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. So this is how our surface will look like right now. So you can select the surface and look it, select the curves and press F10, and since we modeled everything using recorded history, I started making adjustment right now. Everything will update. We're moving it to something like this. I think this needs to go down. This needs to go down too. It's a little bit. Yeah, we can play around like this. Anyway, let's unlock the surface and open Grasshopper, and let's use this surface. But before using it, I'm going to delete this one. I don't need the Voronoi. Use the Voronoi pattern. This is going to be a completely different script. It's a maximum 4. I'm going to select all this part, and I'm going to disable it from here. Click on the mouse with the button and click disable. So select the surface, set 1. So we have our panels from here. And I think I'm not going to use a hexagon tool. Just let's use this type of panels. I think view only one of them for now, which is this one. You know what? Use this one. So this one is number 1, 2. This is number 2. So select number 2. Or you know what? The quad looks cool, by the way. So let's use it. So we have our panel right now. And I'm going to calculate the area of the surface, not the panel. So hold Control Shift. But you know what? Yeah, let's calculate the area. Or wait a second. So this is our curve. The first thing that we will need to do is creating the structure. And the structure, when we are going to create it, we are going to create it using a fixed number. So, and to calculate the area, we can't calculate the area from a non-planar polyline. We need a surface. So I'm going to use this one to calculate the area and get the centroid. So after getting the centroid, I'm going to use a scale. Double click and choose scale. We are going to scale this panels to the centroid with a factor. Let's slide it from 0, with 3 digits, to 1, 3.95. This is going to be scale factor, structure with scale factor. If we reduced this value, as you can see, this spacing is going to increase. But anyway, let's give it maybe 0.9 for now. And we're going to use these curves and these curves to create a structure. So by using loft. So I'm going to use loft. But first we will need to graft. To graft this list. It's output of this list and output of this list, and we are going to merge them together. Merge this one and this one. So we have branches. Each branch contains 2 curves that we are going to use to create a loft. So here you go. We have our loft. So let's group everything here. By the way, we need to use output of these curves for the remaining iterations. But anyway, Control G, and let's name it structure. Now I want to add thickness to this one. And for Boolean, for solid iterations like extrude and offset surface, converting to mesh is going to be more efficient and will take less time. So I'm going to use simple mesh now. Convert this into mesh, and then we can use offset mesh to add a thickness for them. As you can see, it didn't take too much time to compute. Hide all of this. And I want also to be on the pose direction, so let's add a slider from, let's copy this slider, by the way. So this is the structure width, Control C, Control V. And let's name this one structure thickness, make it 0.2, and add a negative value. So here's a value, but you know what? I'm going to add an expression. I'm going to offset it in pose direction. So I'm going to divide it by 2, divide this value by 2, and then double click and add a negative component. I want the whole thickness to be 0.2. So we divide this by 2, and then use the same value for the opposite direction. So as you can see now, the thickness is 0.2, 0.1 here and 0.1 here. And we only insert the structure thickness. So this for the structure. Add this to this group. And now let's extract the curves. You know what? Not the curve. Yeah, the curve. extract these curves. Okay, yeah, not the curve. We need now to scale this panel with the same factor here. So I'm going to press Ctrl C, Ctrl V to copy this one. And instead of inserting the curves, I'm going to insert the geometry itself, the panels. So here we have our panel, but we didn't create any opening on it yet. I think I will just delete all of this. Here it is, the attractor that we're going to use. We can keep it. So let's add a curve. Maybe using one of these curves. Copy it like this. Or you know what? Let's come here and choose interpolate curve on surface. Select the surface and let's draw some kind of a curve like this. This is going to be our attractor curve. So place it in the attractor curve layer. And this curve, let's give it a blue color, by the way. It's going to be better. So open Grasshopper and select this curve and place it here. Set one curve. And I'm not going to use the graph mapper. We can use it, of course, but I'm not going to use it right now. Okay, so this is the panel that I'm going to work on. So I'm going to scale it again. Scale. Press Ctrl V. Put the area again of these panels. So we are going to scale it at centroid using this scale factor. Panels, and this is going to be the scale factor. Okay, so for the scale factor, I'm going to reverse it. So make this 0.1 and this 0.9. So as you can see, the panels around the curve are smaller. And you know what? Let's use the graph mapper, so we can adjust it a little bit more using the graph mapper. But right now, we need to create the glass and the panels. And before doing any of this, we need to remove the very small panels. So you know what? To remove the small panels, I'm going to just copy it from here, which was this part. You know what? Let's just do it again. So we're going to calculate the area of these panels, and let's add a larger than component. And let's add a slider from 3 digits from 0 to 1 and make maybe the minimum 0.5. This slide the minimum area to keep. This is going to be the second number, this is going to be the first number. And let's use cool pattern to remove from this list. Okay, let's make it maybe just 0.1. So all these panels are going to be removed. So these panels are going to be removed. So let's copy it, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and came here, use this list. So we are going to use these two components to create a loft for the panels and the glass. This one is going to be the glass, and this one, let's do it. The curve to extract the curves from here. Ctrl C, Ctrl V to extract the curves from here. And let's graph this one. We can come here and right click and choose graph, and right click here and choose graph 2. Then merge these two lists, merge this one and this one. So we have a lot of branches. Each branch contains 2 curves. So let's use this to create loft. So here we go. We have our panels, but we still need to add thickness to it. So I'm going to convert them into simple mesh first. I'm going to convert them into simple mesh. Then we can add offset mesh thickness to it. By the way, we can flatten it. We don't need to keep it grafted. And I'm going to copy this part. Ctrl C, select this by holding Shift, select all of this, and Ctrl C, Ctrl V. I'm going to use this here. This for the distance, and this for the distance, and this for the other direction. And it's going to be panel thickness. And I'm going to select all of this, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and use it for this one. But first, we are going to need simple mesh component. So this is for the glass. So I'm going to convert the glass into a simple mesh, and then add the thickness to it. So here we go. We have the panels, we have the glass, but of course, it's going to be it's maybe glass thickness, and let's add it the volume maybe 0.02. And let's make it maybe 0.25, 8.3. It's a little bit like this. But there is still a missing part. So for these parts that are going to be solid, we can use this component for it too. But first we need to select it. So we can copy this one, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. But we need to convert this. So I'm going to add node gate. We need to reverse the true and false output from this one. So as you can see here, we managed to select these solid panels. And I'm going to add it here. So hold Shift and add it here like this. So here we go. We have all the solid panels here. This is for the solid panels. So yeah, let's try to organize everything a little bit. It's too messy. I'm going to add the geometry, organize the output. So this one, let's flatten it. Let's come here, right click, and let's name it panels. Select this one, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. Let's place it here. Right click, and let's name it structure. Select this one, Control C, Control V, place it here, and let's right click and name it glass. I think we are almost done. Select all of this, all shift all of this, and hide all of this. Still need to be organized. You can select all of this, make this group, and make this group. Make this part group. Let's remove this from here. So I'm going to place all the inputs together here. This is the minimum area to keep, glass thickness, panel thickness, and this is the structure thickness and structure widths. Right here. We're not going to offset any curves here, so select the curve and place it here directly. Delete this one, delete this one, and this one. And we don't need these two also. The minimum area to keep. Let's align everything, so select all of this and align them like this, and select all of this and add them to the group. And thickness, glass thickness, structure width, structure thickness. Okay, yeah, this looks good. Okay, now I will add custom preview to be able to see the design clearer. So add a structure here, view it, give it maybe some kind of black color, and C, Control V, add this for the panels, give it a light gray color, Control C, Control V, place it here, and let's give it a glass color, maybe some kind of cyan color. And for the transparency, add a slider from 0 to 1, transparency 0.5. This one, this one. And we can group all of this, Control G, and something like this. Give them, make it this, and give them a red color or something. And I'm going to hide all of this. So yeah, this looks actually pretty good, pretty good. We can play around with the structure size, and etc. And we can play with the paneling type. So let's try anything else. So yeah, this for the triangle, but you know what? For this one, let's this one and this one here, and what's in the 0? Let's delete this one too. And let's make the slider from 0 to maximum 3. Okay. Surface. Yeah, this looks cool. And right now, since we created this surface using record history, if I start adjusting the curves, everything will update. It's amazing. Okay, now I'll start using this script to test design options and different variations. Okay, so as you can see, we managed to create a lot of variations in no time. But now I'll start adjusting the material. So for the structure, I'm going to give it a material, custom, let's name it structure. And let's give it maybe a dark gray color. And for the glass, let's give it a material. Let's name it glass. Let's give it maybe a cyan color, but make it dark a little bit. And add some transparency, maybe 50% and 5% closeness and some percent activity. And for the panels, let's give it panels 1, and let's give it a little bit of white color. Okay, now we are almost done, but I want to show you how to use this paneling script on sub-D. So I'm going to create a new layer and let's name it sub-D. Select it, and let's create any sub-D surface. So I'm going to create just a grid, sub-D plane, and set okay, 4 and 4 is good. Do it in any size, press step switch from between flat and smooth mode. Hold the Control Shift to select some faces, top like this. Hold Control Shift, something like this, and then move it up, and move this something like this. I'm creating like anything right now, just to test the script on it. Maybe something like this. Looks like a turtle. Anyway, open Grasshopper. So to use sub-D, I'm going to copy the script. So select it, Control C, Control V, and move it here. We add here for sub-D. So here instead of surface, I'm going to add a sub-D. So set one geometry, sub-D. Now convert it into B-rep. So I'm going to place it into a B-rep component. Now we want to extract the faces. So basically a sub-D is made from multi surfaces. So this is a surface, etc. So first what we need to do is convert it into a variable. Then we're going to deconstruct this variable to select the deconstruct variable to select the faces. So now we have our faces. But as you can see here, if the number of vision is 25 by 20, so we're going to divide this from here by 25 and here by 20. So we will have like extremely large number of panels. So I'm going to set this one to a very small value, maybe 5 and 5, or even less, maybe 3 and 3. So set came here the faces and use it here. And as you can see, we have our panels on the sub D surface. So I'm going to add few curves as the attractor. So select the curve, maybe add a curve in here. I will not select these two curves. So select these two curves and give me a set multi curves. Oh, okay, yeah. There's something wrong. We need to flatten. We need to flatten the output. This output. So you should come here and choose flatten. So yeah, now this works. Anyway, so you get the idea. That's it for today. Thanks for watching and see you later.